In this lecture, I'm going to talk a little bit about the SMART format and how a lot of times people use A for achievable instead of what I use, which is actionable. I also want to discuss how you use actionable and how I use Microsoft OneNote as a way to ensure that my goals are actionable. And then last, I'm going to actually take you through a little bit of an exercise and show you how you can conquer the world. When it comes to using the SMART format and whether or not you should use actionable or achievable, that's a little bit of a personal preference. Now, I personally subscribe to actionable because I believe in what Henry Ford said, that if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Consider all the things that were once considered unachievable, such as running less than a 4-minute mile, human flight, putting a man on the moon, a heart transplant. And the research supports that if you want to be more successful at achieving your goals, you want to set stretch goals. You want to set goals that are challenging. Now, this may be my personal bias, but it works for me. When it comes to actionable and setting up your goals, we're not really discussing yes or no, whether or not a goal is or is not actionable, as much as what you're doing is you're looking at those first action steps, those first tasks you want to set for yourself in order to start achieving and working towards your goal. And you also want to look at some of the major milestones that you may need to accomplish along the way. You don't necessarily need an overall huge comprehensive plan, especially if a goal is ill-structured or dynamic. In fact, in the military I learned a useful saying: no plan survives contact intact. And that's because of the nature of that type of environment. In a dynamic environment, you don't want to waste too much time up front developing an exhaustive plan when things are going to change down the road. Consider your goals and to see to what extent you may want to maintain some flexibility. To provide you an example of what I mean, and while I'm at it, show you how I personally use Microsoft OneNote, here's my plan to conquer the world. Now you'll notice what I'm doing first is I'm actually focusing on those first few steps, those initial milestones. And then I'm allowing those later milestones to be more generalized. The reason for this is because things may change. My goal and the nature of my goal may evolve slightly. So, for example, until I get my hideout, the laser is secondary. Because who knows? If something goes wrong with finding an island hideout, my plan might need to change. Maybe I need to buy myself a submarine. And that really is all there is to actionable. What you want to do when you're initially setting your goals is you want to establish those first few concrete actions that you need to perform. You want to also outline those major milestones. So I provided my example of conquering the world. So use your list, pick at least one, maybe two of your goals, and establish those first 2 or 3 actions, and establish 3 or 4 milestones that you're going to need to complete in order to achieve success.